You can measure the size of an elephant. You can clock the speed of a cheetah, but you can't quantify the heart of a kings, queens, and in-betweens. Welcome to Dr. Boxing Talk. Stream starts now.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. If I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Well, 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 well. What do we have here? What do we have here? We have some boxing news about to go down around this town. You know what I'm talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brethren and sisters, and hermanos mi hermanas, ladies and lads, kings and queens, and everything in between. Y'all know what time it is. The doctor's in the house. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Let's get it. Have a couple things to talk about, man. We can review. We have a lot of things to talk about, actually. You know, so I'm looking forward to what we have to discuss. Oh, man, my camera looking all crazy. Hold on. My filter looking crazy. Got my green screen on. I might just put my green screen down, you know? Why not? The sun is shining bright out there. Got the window open, chat, so that's why it looks a little bright. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Hey, man, let's hit this roll call real quick. We got my brother Oscar Perez in the building. Yes, sir. Big member in the building, man. So, hey, there's been a lot of news, man. There's been a lot of news. So before we get to it, let's go ahead and start off with our prayer that we always do on this wonderful Sunday, man. Please join me and bow your heads. And one, man, please join me and bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for leading us into this Sunday, you know, the first day of the week. Let us start off this week properly. Start off this week in a good fashion, in a positive fashion. And what way to do that than to what better way to do that than to put you at the forefront of our minds, our actions, our thoughts, and our intentions, Lord. So we ask you to lead us into this week with a grateful spirit, peaceful spirit, and a kind spirit, and let us just be diligent, you know, diligent in all of our actions, but at the same time, simultaneously, also give all of our worries and our stresses to you, and be confident knowing that we can wait patiently as long as we're doing our part, and our part is having faith and using our blessings to the best of our abilities. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen, amen. Oscar said Jake Paul paying people the ring, making a post 12-1 is impressive. Kid Austin Gray showing Farmer surpassing Tim Zoo for the fastest molly whop in a minute. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. So let me close this a little bit. That sun is bright. Hold on, give me a second. Let me close the blinds. It is a little bright. The sun's like right on my window. Like, come on, bro. I'm talking about the sun like sitting right on top of my forehead, bro. One time for the sun, but we need the sun. We love the sun. But gosh, dang, bro, right on my forehead, bro. Dang, bro. Ain't gonna let me breathe, bro. What's the matter, OD? But yeah, man. So look. So where we gonna start off with? I want to start off with Chris Eubanks and Conor Benn. So apparently, there's gonna be a recurrent theme today, chat, and that theme is that I was wrong. You know, it seems like Conor Benn and Chris Eubank will actually be fighting. They will actually be fighting because according to the Ring Magazine, what they dropped on their Twitter on X is that Conor Benn and Chris Eubank will have part 2 in September. So, you know, I thought it was going to be in jeopardy. You know, he said he wanted to go for the WBC route. So I thought maybe they were disregarding it. You know what I'm saying? But apparently that fight is going down. Hey, and I'm here for it because that first fight was great. I think Chris Eubank is going to win in a more convincing fashion the second time around because he is the better boxer, and usually the rematches benefit the better boxer. Now, I don't know what weight class he'll be at. I don't know if it's going to be at 160 again. You know, we saw that Chris Eubank struggled to make weight. That's why he's in trouble with the BBBFC, the British Boxing Board of Control, because he used a mechanism that was not really legal. You know, as a sauna, right? You're not supposed to use a sauna or anything like that for a significant weight cutting, you know, because they think that it's put your health in jeopardy, and they're right. You know what I'm saying? So they want to try to protect the fighter's welfare. So they don't want you to use extreme measures like using the sauna to go for extreme weight cutting, and he did. So he's currently going through some situation with that. But even that didn't put the fight in jeopardy. I mean, it did put the fight in jeopardy, but apparently not, you know. So in September, if everything moves forward as planned, then according to the Ring Magazine, we will see Chris Eubank and Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn back in there again. And I'm going with Chris Eubank again like I did the first time. But like I said, I don't know what weight class it's going to be at. I would assume it'll be above 160, but I don't think it'll be at 168, right? So I'm thinking maybe 162 or something like that. But if I'm Conor Benn, I wouldn't go any higher, you know? So, and if I'm Chris Eubank Jr., I definitely wouldn't go any lower than 160. So we'll see how it goes, man. I don't know. Speaking of another fight announcement, I've been wrong again, you know? Apparently, Devin Haney and Brian Norman will be fighting for his WBO title, for Brian Norman's welterweight WBO title next in November, man. And apparently it will be in Riyadh. And if it's in Riyadh, then you could assume that it's probably going to be on the Bivol Beterbiev trilogy card. So, man, there's a lot of fights that are coming up that have been rumored for November. If that's the case, man, this Beterbiev and Bivol card, the trilogy is looking to stack up probably relatively, maybe not as good as the one that was supposed to be in February, you know, outside of the people that pulled out. But remember when that fight was first called in February? That card was amazing. You know what I'm saying? Had Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, Kid Austin Schofield, SHAKUR, Callum Smith, and Boatsy. And it was just a pretty stacked card, you know. I know I'm missing some people, but you get what I'm saying. So now there's according to reports, you know, the undercard for this one might challenge that one, you know. So it didn't end up being great because of course Kid Austin had to pull out, so you know Joshua Padley replaced SHAKUR, and then Daniel Dubois to pull out, so Bacoli replaced Joseph Parker. So it didn't live up to the hype, but what it was originally scheduled as, it was a very great card, arguably one of the best cards. So this card, if Beterbiev and Bivol, all the fights that are rumored to be on there are actually on there, man, this card is going to be good, man, because I'm hearing that Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Boots in this, even though Virgil said his hand is messed up, I'm hearing that he could potentially be on that card as well, and versus Boots. I don't know if it's true. I wouldn't put my money on it, but man, that'd be a crazy card. Beterbiev and Bivol trilogy, Haney and Norman, and Boots and Virgil, and then not to mention all the other fighters that'll be on there too. Man, that card is gonna be fire. You know what I'm saying? If that is true. Shout out to my guy Patrick in the building, big member in the building. Yes, sir. Yo, Southwest Dice in the building. What's good, brethren? Yeah, man. He said, I told you the fight happened. Hey, man. Hey, it seems like they're back on track. You know, it was looking a little shaky, but Turk had to come and lay that paper down. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see if it actually happens. I hope it does, but we'll see, man. You know, like I said, even if it doesn't happen, you know, I'm still not. I don't blame either fighter. You know, I don't blame either fighter, either party. I'm still not fully convinced, but they did announce it on the Ring Magazine, and they announced it before, and they got called off. And, you know, like I said, they've announced Terrence Crawford or Virgil Ortiz before. They announced quite a few fights before. They announced SHAKUR and Zepeda before. I mean, now it's happening, but, you know, there's been a couple times it's been announced. So it still may not come into fruition, but I'm leaning towards it happening, you know. So that'd be a great fight, and I got to salute Haney and Norman. And I will salute Haney more than Norman, because that's a tough task, man. I have Norman winning, but don't get it twisted. Devin Haney could outbox Brian Norman, you know, and so, you know, it's a turkey out of shade card, so, you know, he could probably, they might try to advocate for a smaller ring, you know how that goes, so, because they don't want no Tom and Jerry antics. But I think that's a dangerous fight for Devin Haney, especially coming off of what he's coming off of, you know, with somebody cheating him and stuff like that, and being brutalized due to that. Man, that's a tough fight, because Brian Norman is a big hitter, you know. Now, like I said, I'm not fully sold that it's gonna happen, but that is announced, and I love that fight, man, because I can see, you know, Brian Norman, he's athletic, but he's not like, he has an athletic physique, but he's not really that athletic in the ring as far as movement, you know, and agility goes. He's athletic with his punching power and some of his reflexes, but as far as movement goes, that's definitely the superior footwork and agility goes to Devin Haney. So don't be surprised if Devin Haney can outbox him. Do I think that Brian Norman will go out like Jose Carlos Ramirez? Absolutely not. But don't be surprised, man. Like I said, Devin Haney's a very good boxer, but I'm leaning towards Brian Norman Jr. Like I said, I just don't know who Devin Haney beats at 147, but we'll see. We'll find out, man. So I got to salute Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Trill Bill. Shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to Brian Norman Sr. And shout out to Brian Norman Jr. for taking this fight, man. That's going to be a great fight, man. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody going to find out. We're going to find out if Brian Norman's for real, and if that storm's really coming, or Devin Haney is going to outbox him, even though they're going to say he running. You know what I'm talking about? So we're going to see how it goes, man. Got my guy Ty in the building. Big member in the building. So yeah, man, I just think that this is good news, bro. There's been a lot of good news this weekend, you know. And then some other news, speaking of Devin Haney, a guy that's been tied to Devin Haney for a while now, since last year, you know, even before that with the amateurs and stuff. Ryan Garcia and Oscar de la Fishnets, and Golden Shower Promotions are having issues again. Golden Shower Promotions seems like they might be releasing Ryan Garcia, man. And I think that's another bomb dropped on us, man. And I don't know if y'all saw, it's been recently taken down, but they had a war of words. And, you know, Oscar De La Hoya disclosed some DMs that Ryan Garcia sent him, basically cursing him out, just like he curses out everybody, you know. And yeah, you know, Oscar De La Hoya blaming it on mental disorder, saying, man, being bipolar is not good. And I think he was taking more of a dig out of him, more than being concerned about his health. But we'll see how that goes and how this develops, man. I think that, is he fully released now? No. But could he be released? Is he on the verge of being released? You never know. You see how it goes. Like I said, this is not the first time that they went at it back and forth. You know what I'm saying? They had a public feud before they reconciled, and maybe they'll reconcile before things hit the fan fully. But as of right now, it seems like there's a little rift at Golden Boy Promotions, man. We'll see how it goes. He said, got to give Schofield credit, but I expected a lot more out of Tevin. He said, look at Haney, last 7 fights, all good fighters. That's a fact. He said, I didn't want Virgil Ortiz versus Boots happening if someone claims being injured. Otherwise, there'll be excuses. Yeah, I don't want that either. I want them to be fully healed, just like I want all fighters to be fully healed. I don't want anybody to come in compromised or handicapped, or, you know what I'm saying, I want them to be at their best. You know, unfortunately, we don't always get that. But yeah, if Virgil Ortiz's hand is hurt and it's documented, then let him heal up, and then let's get that fight, because I got Boots winning. But even if I have Virgil Ortiz, well, I think that's a good fight regardless. I don't want any one of them to be hobbled going in. You know, I want maybe be hobbled coming out, you know what I'm saying, without being chronically injured, or, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, maybe that. But I don't want them going in and being hurt. I feel robbed, you know what I'm saying. I feel like, dang, you know, like even with Manny Pacquiao, you know, I don't use that as an excuse. But I do think that, I believe him that his shoulder might have been messed up, but I don't care. Once you're in the ring, you're in the ring. Same with Sergio Martinez and Miguel Cotto. We could see that Sergio Martinez's knee was messed up, but once you're in the ring, you're in the ring. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You can only control how you perform. You can't control the status and the ailments of your competitor. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. If you're that hurt, then call the fight off. If not, if you hop in the ring, that means that you think that despite your injuries, that you're good enough to beat your opponent. And let's face it, you know, Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto, they have injuries too. Everybody has injuries, you know what I'm saying? Everybody may not have the same severity of injuries, but everybody's a little have little bumps and bruises, and and pains and stuff like that. So he said that turkey bag go crazy. That turkey bag gotta go crazy, because I don't think that neither Brian Norman nor Haney would take that fight if the bag wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? So both of these fighters are taking risks. A lot of us are going to say, oh, Devin Haney's taking the bigger risk. No, Brian Norman's taking the big risk too. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Due to public reception and how we look at the fighters and our not just reception, but also public perception of Devin Haney, we'd be like, oh, Devin Haney's the only one taking the risk. No, Brian Norman, bro, Devin Haney is the youngest undisputed champion in the 4-belt era as a male. Brian Norman is 24 years old. He's taking a big risk. Devin Haney is easily the biggest, the highest caliber opponent that he's faced. You know what I'm saying? So this is a big risk. Now, do I think that Brian Norman is going to win? Yes, but that doesn't negate the amount of risk that he's taking by stepping in there with a great fighter like Devin Haney. Whether you like him or not, he's a great fighter. He's very accomplished. You know, the accolades speak for themselves. So Devin Haney is taking a risk going in there with a big puncher, because what we saw with Ryan Garcia on PEDs. But Brian Norman is also taking a big risk. He hasn't faced anybody as skilled as Devin Haney. No, sir. So this is going to be very good, man. I love it, man. So shout out to both fighters. You know, may the best man win if it does come into fruition. We'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. He said Boots at 5 against Virgil. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Virgil will last longer than that. Like I said, I'm not mad at anybody picking Virgil or Ortiz. I just got Boots. I think stylistically, that fight actually plays into Boots' favor, because Virgil Ortiz is he does have power. If he catches Boots now, he might be in trouble. But you know, outside of that, I don't think he really offers that many. He's not that dynamic of a fighter. If I say he doesn't have that many wrinkles to his games. He says, "Seems you have more energy, doctor. Today you struggle to stay awake during last night's fights, my brother. Hey, well, I'm tired, bro. Good to see you got the energy. Hey, Patrick, bro. Hey, I was working out earlier. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when I don't work out at a gym. I do calisthenics, so I work out outside. You know, and a lot of my workouts involve obviously body weight training with calisthenics, but also the bar. I use a pull-up bar, and I'll be doing muscle ups, and my workouts are pretty intense. You know what I'm saying? And so I'd be tired. Then last night, man, you know, I did that, and I came back, which I work out every day, but you know, I'm in Florida, so the Florida sun, and then you know, it's been raining too. You know, but when it rains, then the sun come out bright and it's even more intense. So it's just like, man, and I also run too. You know, I always run and then I work out. So I was. Man, them fights, bro. I was a little drained. I ain't gonna lie. So I apologize for that, man. I apologize for having low energy yesterday, man. But I was a little tired, bro. Them fights was taking too long, man. But you know, we did 2 cards though, bro. No, I'm lying. Saturday wasn't 2 cards. Sorry, Friday was 2 cards. Saturday was 1 card. I'm sorry. Yeah, man. But he's yeah, we back though. We back, baby. God is good. You feel me? Virgil going out like Roy Manvilla. I could see that, but I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking, chat. I'm thinking Virgil and Boots is gonna be. I could see Royman Villa. That's a good one. That's actually a very good one, Ty. I ain't gonna lie. But I would say more so like, because I say a little bit more. I say a little bit more competitive, longer. So I would say like Stanionis, but with 3 more rounds. I think Stanionis was stopped in 6. I would say add 3 more rounds to what Stanionis and Boots look like. And I think that's how it's going to kind of look similar to that, you know. But yeah, I mean, you could be right. I could be wrong. Maybe Jerron Boots is going there and make it look easy, like easy work. But like I said, I'm not sure this fight's happening. This is just what I'm hearing, chat. Nothing is solidified. Obviously, Haney and Norman is a little more official because I was announced by the Ring. Obviously, Eubanks and Ben Part 2 is a little more official because I was announced by the Ring again in September. That fight. Hey, I'm looking. Hey, Eubank, man. Hey, Eubank made a fan out of me. I'm not gonna not just from the fight. You know, I think he's a little entitled, pompous, arrogant butthole. But as far as his stance on PEDs and trying to get PEDs out of boxing and making sure that he sticks it to Conor Benn for cheating,
we do not let people who are on the juice discuss real athletes. That's all.
I gotta salute Chris Eubank, man. I loved everything he stood for, and you know. And whether you like him personally, you got to love that he was defending the integrity and the purity and the sanctity of the sport, man. You got to respect it. So shout out to him. And, you know, and we can forgive, you know, forgive Conor Benn as well, you know, with the huevos and them eggs. But at the same time, people need to be held accountable, man. And I think people, you know, hold on. You got to understand Chris Eubank. And this is what he was. If you listen to Chris Eubank, bro. Yes, please smash the like. Shout out to Patrick. Thank you, bro. Don't apologize, bro. You made it. Yes, sir. Thank you, bro. But yeah, if you listen to what Chris Eubanks was saying, not even just the PED part, but also the fact that the fight was canceled. I think people forget that the fight was they were originally scheduled to fight, and then the fight got canceled. So when the fight gets canceled, and Ty can attest to this, and anybody that boxes or any idea with how boxing stuff goes down, you know, you have sparring partners that usually you pay, and their pay is contingent on the person getting the fight. So then they pay you on the back end. Like, okay, but they might pay you on the front end too, but you know, a lot of times your pay is dependent on what they're going to give you after they get their purse. You know what I'm saying? So if you cancel the fight and the fight gets canceled, well, if I called in Patrick to spar me, if I called in Ty to spar me, if I called in Dub and Oscar to spar me, now their money's in jeopardy. Because what if I don't have it like that? What if I was also dependent of not just pay my own bills, but part of my bills was to pay my sparring partners, and the sparring partners was dependent on my pay to pay their bills and their family. So Chris Eubank Jr. touched on all that during the press conference. I thought that was very not only was it what's the word I'm looking for? Not only was it was dope, it was also righteous, but it was also, what's the word I'm looking for? It was refreshing. I don't know why I couldn't think of refresh. It was also refreshing to hear a fighter talk about the back end of boxing and serious things that happen, as opposed to people just say, oh, he ducked him. No, bro. Like, a lot of these fighters, so when you say somebody ducks, like if someone gets sick and pulled out of a fight, I'm not saying that people don't duck, because of course they do, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's bigger than just the fight. Like, you have other things dependent on it. So a lot of times the fighters don't want to pull out of the fight unless they absolutely have to. That's why I'd be giving a lot of grace when a fighter like pulls out of a fight at the last second because they're sick or something. I don't just assume that they're scared. I think that's stupid. You know what I'm saying? They have things that they want to pay too. And a lot of times the fight gets canceled, bitches don't get paid, including the boxer. You know what I'm saying? So it is their livelihood. So shout out to Chris Eubank. I just thought that was dope, man. And you know, we talk about Keyshawn who got stripped, and he should get stripped, and he was very unprofessional by missing weight and having the fight canceled and stuff like that. But it's like we forget about the stuff that's the same thing Ryan Garcia did. He put everybody on the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia card in jeopardy as well. If Devin Haney didn't be a stand-up guy, and you know I'm not a big Haney fan, but I gotta tell it what it is. If he wasn't a stand-up guy and took that fight, a lot of people probably wouldn't have got paid. You know what I'm saying? We don't talk about that part though. We just focus on the part that whether if you don't like Devin Haney, you want to call him all types of oh, he sued this, and oh, he got knocked out this. He didn't even get knocked out. It went to a decision, number one. But anyway, so you know, you got to think about this stuff. You know, we look at Keyshawn and we remember that with Keyshawn, but Gustavo Limos also jeopardized the fight too when he came in 6 pounds overweight. Ryan Garcia when he came in 3 pounds overweight. So whenever Keyshawn Davis, he came in 4 pounds overweight. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into the background of boxing. So shout out to Chris Eubank. I thought he was talking about that a lot during the Conor Ben fight, and I salute Chris Eubank. You know, I liked him a lot more. But with that being said, I have Chris Eubank winning against Conor Ben. I don't know where he goes after that, you know, but we'll see. We'll see. It's in September. Good Lord willing. We'll see. We got my guy Dub in the building. Hey, shout out to my boy Dub. Hey, Dub, I did you dirty. I got to run this back for you, bro, because I forgot to run this, man. Shout out to Dub for dropping the gifted membership yesterday, and I did not run your animation, so here it goes right there. My brother Dub gifted memberships, man. You get a card.
2, 3.
Brother Dub, man, the good brother Dub, man. Shout out to my guy. Yes, sir. I don't remember who I think you gifted. I don't remember who you gifted the sub to yesterday, but shout out to you, man. He said Virgil will last a few more rounds, but his style of fight will result in him getting beat in the Roman VFA. I agree with that. I agree with that, Ty. And I agree with you 1,000%. I think that was a good comparison you made. Villa got beat into submission because he had heart. Yeah, Virgil got heart too, and that's why he will get beat like he stole, like he stole some. Yo, we got William Old School in the building, man. Yes, sir. Tell him again, Southwest Dice. Hit that like button. I appreciate it, man. Professional statement for Eubank Jr. to take us to behind, to the behind of the fight preparation and everything. Yes, and everyone involved to make it happen and how it can ruin other people's income. Yeah, and even like I said, Chris Eubank, like I said, man, he seems a little arrogant and stuff like that, but everybody has their story, you know what I'm saying? He's he grew up with his father, Chris Eubank Sr., so he was affluent, you know, and I'm not saying that's an excuse to be a butthole, but what I'm saying is that everybody grows up differently, and he's probably just somebody who had stuff, so he's not really relatable for a lot of people like myself, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that he's a bad person, man. You know, even when he paid Ellie Scottney and some other people that were in his gym, he didn't have to do that, you know what I'm saying? People say, oh, well, he didn't have to advertise it. Who cares if he advertised it or not? You know what I'm saying? He should get applauded for doing good deeds. We should applaud people for doing righteous things. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Chris Eubank Jr. He definitely made a fan out of me. And Conor Benn, hey, shout out to him. He showed a lot of heart in that fight. You know what I'm saying? I got to give respect to Conor Benn too, you know? I mean, he is a PED popper. We gonna call him that. But you know, hey, that was a hell of a fight, man. I enjoyed the hell out of that fight. I appreciate you and the fam to allow my silliness. No worry. You already know, Dub. I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, man. So we'll see if Oscar does release Ryan. Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch part 2 is in September, and Haney and Norman's in November, man. If anybody wants to call in and let your thoughts be known, let me know. The Discord calls are open. You know what I'm saying? The link is posted at the above, is pinned. So let me know, man. But if not, we're going to move on to the weekend review. We're going to recap the weekend, man. And, you know, Deontay Wilder, man. Shout out to Deontay Wilder, man. He beat Tyrell Herndon as we expected. You know, there's not really much to say about that, right? I don't know where Deontay Wilder goes from there. You know, shout out to Deontay Wilder. It was a comeback fight. He did what he was supposed to do. He won. But did he galvanize his fan base and make us think that he's ready to be back at the top of the sport? Not for me personally. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm just saying that Tyrell Herndon is a mediocre at best fighter. You know, that opposition, he was a pedestrian, right? Shout out to Tyrell Herndon. His story is fire. His story is that he was he worked a day job or a night job at a warehouse or something like that, and he would rush home to come and see Deontay Wilder fight. You know what I'm saying? I think he's 37 years old. Deontay Wilder's 39, so 2 years age different. But you know, he's still like kind of looked up to him as far as like being on a stage where he wish he was at. He was a fan of him, you know, being an exciting fighter that Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber, is, right? So it's funny. It's so dope that he can go from watching Deontay to actually fighting Deontay, you know? And so big salute to him. That's dope, man. That's fire. I don't want to minimize that. I actually want to celebrate that. So shout out to Tyrell Herndon. People may think, oh yeah, you got whooped, but you don't know everybody's story, man. He has a championship story, man. That's the story of a champion, bro. You went from watching somebody and now you're competing against that person you used to watch. Come on, dog. You gotta respect that. So shout out to Tyrell Herndon, but it doesn't change the fact that he was severely outmatched, right? You know, he's never been a champion and stuff like that, and he has 5 losses going in, and 4 of those losses were by stoppage to fighters that were lesser caliber than what Deontay Wilder was at his peak in his prime. You know, he has 4, like I said, he had 4 knockout stoppages, 5 losses prior to the Deontay Wilder fight, and 2 of those stoppages were in the first round. He lost to Corey. Was it Cory Booker or Corey? I can't remember his name. And then in the first round, he lost to F.A. Jogba in the first round. And then he lost to Richard Torres Jr. in the second round. And he got DQ'd against Brandon Glanton. So this is the guy that we're talking about. He just doesn't belong in the same ring as Deontay Wilder, you know, unless circumstances present that opportunity. And that's what they did, because Deontay Wilder coming off of a bad streak right now. You know, he's what, 1-3 in his last 4 fights, or 1-4 in his last 5 fights, something like that. He lost to Tyson Fury, Zhale Zhang, Joseph Parker, and he only beat Robert Helenius. So he's looking for a bounce back to see if he still got it. And I don't think he still has it. You know, I personally thought that he should have retired before, and I think that him beating Tyrell Herndon didn't change my mind at all. You know, I think he just beat somebody he was supposed to beat, and he didn't look exceptionally well, but I will say his footwork looked okay. He was throwing that jab out a little more, and shout out to him. You know, I think that's a testament to him finally getting Malik Scott up out of there. You know, he tossed Malik Scott out the house. You feel me? He finally gave Malik Scott the boot. You feel me? To much of my approval, you know. And you know, he's with Don House, who's his trainer now. Has been in this camp. It's not really that much of a change, but now Don House went from being the co-trainer to now the main trainer, so implemented his own game plan and stuff like that. And Deontay Wilder executed it, you know, but he just didn't look exceptionally well. I don't want to see him fight AJ next. I don't want to, like, AJ maybe for nostalgia, you know what I'm saying, for nostalgia purposes, but that's not even a fair fight almost, you know. Deontay Wilder just a shell of himself, you know. If he fights, I'm going to be rooting for him, and I'm going to be cheering for him, but I just don't think that he beats any top level contender or opposition right now, you know. I don't care if it's Dubois, Usyk, AJ, Bacoli, Caballel, whoever's a top heavyweight champion or contender. I think Deontay Wilder easily loses to them. That's just my personal opinion on that. So, but you know, he did come back, so shout out to him. Congrats to him. And then we had another fighter, Christian and Billy, man. Shout out to Christian and Billy. He did his thing. This was on Friday as well. He stopped Maciej Sulecki. This is only the second person to stop Sulecki. The first person to stop Sulecki, a veteran contender, was Diego Pacheco. Christian and Billy, he did the same thing, but he stopped him in 1 round. I'm talking about, there were so many 1-round stoppages. Arslanbek Makhmadov stopped the Jamaican Badman Ricardo Brown in 1 round. Christian and Billy put on a demolition against Maciej Sulecki. I'm talking about, that was a picture perfect uppercut that he hit Sulecki with first round, you know. And then I gotta go to it, chat. Tevin Farmer and gosh dang Floyd Kid Austin Schofield. 1 round it went down. And I'm gonna show you my reaction just in case y'all missed it. Shout out to my guy Oscar. Oscar dropped some love on the chat with on the chat walls with a super chat contribution, and he asked me to make a short of my reaction to Floyd Kid Austin Schofield beating Tevin Farmer. And I know he probably thinks I didn't do it, but that's why you ain't following your boy on TikTok. I know he gonna say, Doc, I don't got TikTok. Get TikTok, you know what I'm saying? Follow your boy on TikTok, Instagram, all the socials, because I tried to post it on YouTube and YouTube blocked it. So guess what I'm gonna do right now? I'm gonna show it anyway, because YouTube, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why they blocked it. I spent more time trying to make the video comply with YouTube's rules than it did to actually make the video. Bro, I was on it for like 2 hours today. I kept remaking it, re-editing it, and they kept blocking it. So we gonna show it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Block these. So we gonna show my reaction to it, because I did make it. It's posted on TikTok fine. It's posted on Instagram fine. It's posted on Facebook fine. But just YouTube kept blocking it though. So we gonna show it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How about them apples, YouTube? Hating asses, man. They stay hating on me, bro.
30 minutes later, 15 minutes later, and made wait again. So that's not a, I'm saying,
that when we watch Kid Austin Schofield versus Tevin Farmer, 1 round it went down. Oh my goodness, let's play it right now. Check it out. Compliments of Oscar. I mean, I was gonna do it anyway, but shout out to Oscar though. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to have some extra persuasion and motivation.
I'm saying, came back 30 minutes later, 15 minutes later, and made weight again. So that's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? When you miss weight by like a couple ounces or something like that, or half a pound, that's nothing. But when you miss weight by 4 pounds, 3 pounds, 6 pounds, 5 pounds, you wildin'. Oh Lord, he dropped him already. Oh Lord, he dropped him already, chat. Oh no, he didn't. Mama no, not like this. Mama no. Oh my goodness, he ain't dropping ball. Oh Lord, he in the right. Oh, cover up, Tevin, cover up that big milk gun head. Oh Lord. Oh my goodness. Oh, you can't take all that. He can't take all that, Tufo. He can't take all that, Tufo. Oh my goodness, dropping bombs on him. He can't take all that, Tufo. That's too much. That's way too much pressure. Oh no, stop it. Oh damn. Oh. Not like this, Tevin. Oh my goodness, not like this, Tevin. No, not like this. Not in 1 round. It ain't go down in 1 round. Oh my goodness. Tevin Farmer went down like there was a whale in the boat. Oh my goodness, bro. They said Floyd Kid Austin Schofield was scared at the weigh-in. Oh, they said he was scared at the press conference. Tevin Farmer ate them things like he was supposed to. Shout out to my guy Tevin Farmer. I still like Tevin Farmer, but gosh, dang, he ain't seen them things. All them eyes, he ain't see that thing coming. All them eyes, he ain't see that thing coming. Bumba. Oh my goodness. Ain't no way he just stopped him like that. Ain't no way he just stopped him like that. He had Tevin Farmer in there looking like fight back. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no, not like, bro, who had that in their bingo cards?
Oh my goodness, bro. First
Anybody
round?
who said that Kid Austin was about to get upset, I'm gonna need you to
Shut up, bitch.
Oh my goodness.
Not the first round, bro.
Yo, shout out to Kid Austin, man. Hey, that was a hell of a statement, man. Hey, put some respect on the kid. Put some Bumba Clyde. You feel me? Mikey said Bumba Clyde.
Me blood clot.
Bro, the combination that he hit him with, though. The combination right here.
He ain't dropping ball. Oh no. Oh Lord, he in the right. Oh, cover up, Tevin. Cover up that big milk gun head. Oh Lord.
Combination, bro. I had to say, oh Lord, that combination was nasty. Shout out to my guy Oster in the building, big member in the building. Hey, top dog, bro. That combination was nasty. I had to put the sound effects on it. That pop, pop, pop. Hit him with a Killer Instinct Ultra combo, bro. That was nasty, bro. Yes, sir. He said Wilder's always my guy, but I 100% agree he needs to retire before he ends up badly hurt. Yeah, I agree. I agree, William. Old school in the building. He has plenty of money. He definitely doesn't need the money. Yeah, I hope not, man. Hopefully, he invested and stuff like that. It's just like, bro, there's life after box. There's life after anything, no matter what your profession is. I don't care if you're a professor or a CEO or a mechanic or janitor or whatever you are, an athlete. There's life always after your occupation, and you don't want that to be compromised because you stayed in your occupation too long to where you hurt yourself, so if it could be avoided, So yeah, I think that Wilder should just go ahead and retire, man. And I'm not saying that from a hateful standpoint. Sure, I think that Wilder's severely underrated, and people just don't appreciate things. You know what I'm saying? Like to talk trash about. He's an easy target to talk trash about because he's not the most fundamentally sound and stuff like that. But he picked up boxing late and he became a champion. You know what I'm saying? You know, some people have been doing their job all their life and they ain't never been a champion at it. You feel me? So shout out to Deontay Wilder, man. But yeah, I just, but Kid Austin, bro, Kid Austin, that was amazing, bro. I don't care what anybody says. You know, what Kid Austin did to Tevin Farmer was, I didn't expect that. You know, shout out to Tufo in the building. Tufo called it. You know what I'm saying? Tufo said, "Hey man, I got Kid Austin by stoppage." That's why you should come to the chat, man, because we be having fun, man. That was a live reaction. You see what I'm saying? And I just edited it and stuff like that with the fight and stuff. But as far as the reaction goes, man, we just be having fun during the lives, man. So come kick it with us, man. I'm sure you'll love it. Don't forget to smack that like button. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to all those that made it. And Tufo came in here and first thing he said, "Hey man, I got Kid Austin by stoppage." You know, and then he went to thinking, and then he almost retracted that statement. But nah, he said, "Nah, I'm going with Kid Austin by stoppage," and I ain't know it was like that. He was right, bro. And I saw my boy Kendrick talking about, man, I got Tevin Farmer for the upset. I was like, bro, I said, man, you know, I lean towards Tevin Farmer because Kid Austin a little green, but Tevin Farmer is like, you got to look at his last 3 fights, right? He's been going through the gauntlet, number one, but number two, most importantly, it's like he's been finding a way to lose. May not be his fault, but by hook or by crook, he's gonna lose. He lost to Raymond Murataya. Could he have won that? Sure, but did he win? No, he lost. He fought Tevin Zepeda, dropped him, but he still lost. He fought Zepeda again. It was another close decision fight, but he still lost. So that's why that was my deciding factor. I was like, man, I got Kid Austin because I feel like more so than Kid Austin's skill, I would say that Tevin Farmer was going to find a way to not do enough to win. And he ain't do enough to even make anybody think about it. You know, Kid Austin came in there with a vengeance, man. He came in there like, bro, Kid Austin, man. Bro, I don't know what happened, bro. Like, shout out to Tevin Farmer. Like I said, I still think he's a good fighter, but I kind of feel for Tevin Farmer because, and no disrespect to Ricardo Brown, I don't know his training camp. He probably trained hard. Ricardo Brown is a heavyweight that fought Arslanbek Makhmadov. You know, number one, Ricardo Brown is a heavyweight, so you know one shot could happen. One shot could change the whole fight. You know, it's heavyweights. That's number one. But number two, to me, I don't know Ricardo Brown like that, and I'm gonna just go with his body type, his physique. And it's not always right to judge somebody by their physique, but I think you can tell from somebody's physique or lack of physique of a top athlete, like how much you put in as far as the endurance part, as far as the road work part. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really look the part. So he looked like maybe he was just trying to get one shot in because he's a heavyweight and hopefully he gets off first. And Makhmadov got off first. So I don't share the same sentiment towards him. But Tevin Farmer, he always comes in shape. He strikes me as a hard worker. He looks like a blue collar type dude. You see what I'm saying? So when I say that I kind of feel bad is because I don't think it was for a lack of preparation. He just got bulldozed, and sometimes that happens in the sport, man, you know. And but I will say this though, man. That boy Shakur a hater, bro. But you know, I'm not mad at Shakur because you know Kid Austin and Shakur don't get along. But when Shakur was like, "Oh yeah, man, that don't really prove nothing," Kid Austin just came out fast, and that him beating Tevin Farmer doesn't mean anything like that. Yes, it does. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that he could beat you. That don't mean he could beat Tank or anybody like that. But that does mean something, especially coming off of what Kid Austin was going through. But like I said, I'm not mad at Shakur because they have their back and forth and they don't rock with each other. Just like I'm not mad at what Tank said about Floyd Kid Austin Schofield in regards to him calling him out. But don't get it twisted. That was a great win. You don't run through somebody like that, like shit through draws, and that's not a great win. You know, a lot of people had Tevin Farmer upsetting Kid Austin. And a lot of people that had Kid Austin winning didn't have him winning like that. You know, I'm sure Tufo called a knockout. I'm sure Tufo ain't called the first round knockout. So that's what I'm saying. That was a surprise, man. That's a great win, man. Whether you like Kid Austin or not, I don't like the pappy. I still don't like Floyd Schofield Sr., but I've always said I like the son, you know, and Kid Austin. But you know, unfortunately, you're gonna get some of that energy from that your dad receives because of what he puts out there. So you know, it's just give and take. You know, I still don't like the pops, but Kid Austin, I've always liked him. He did his thing. MAW, what's good, brethren? My guy. But yeah, man. So I want to watch this real quick. In regards to what Kid Austin said after the fight, in regards to who he wants to fight next. Check it out. Well, not Kid Austin, but his daddy.
The talk is always Shakur. But there's multiple other names on there, and one of the biggest names in that division is going to be Gervonta Tank Davis. Is that a fight that you and your son are looking to, willing to entertain?
We want all of them that got the belts. We're going to be undisputed. So everybody.
Here we go again. Here we go again. See, this is y'all fault. Because you knew, well, they say y'all fault. They say our fault. But as soon as Kid Austin won, we knew we was going to hear it. And lo and behold, he's not going to let any one of us down. He's not going to disappoint any of us. He go talking again. Let's see what he got to say. Shout out to B-Dog in the building.
Everybody who had the belt, whether it's a Mason, Shakur, Tank, all of them is on the hit list. So you become a mandatory, you're going to vote that challenge? Yeah. Tank ain't no threat to us.
He said, Tank ain't no threat to us. He said that's Auntie Uncle Hopefield facts. He said Tank ain't no threat to us.
We've been in camp with Tank already. We've been in camp with all these people already, getting them ready for their fights. So they know threat. They already know what's coming. That's why Tank is retiring. That's why everybody running and scattering. Everybody who's in the gym Floyd was with, getting them ready for their fights, they hauling ass because they know the storm that's coming. The public don't know. But everybody that's in the boxing community, they know Floyd since he was 16 he's won his champ. So we want all of them, every single one. He'll get knocked out too. I said that Floyd wouldn't stop Tank. Floyd gonna stop all of them. They can't take his power. We know because when he was getting Devin ready, buckling Devin and buckling him all up in camp, they can't deal with his power. So it's not one of them in 135 or 140 that's gonna stop him from being undisputed champion. Both those divisions.
Okay, chat. See, look, this is what I'm saying, though. I'm not mad at any of that if it wasn't from him. That's the only reason why I don't like it, because of course he should feel like this. He just knocked out Tevin Farber, a former champion, who's the paid of the undisputed 135 mandatory. He struggled with him twice. Raymond Murataya, who seems like he has been elevated to the IBF champion. He struggled with Tevin Farber, and Kid Austin made easy work of him. So he's supposed to feel like this. However, it's just that it's Schofield, man. It's Schofield Sr. We cannot believe him because he was saying the same energy. He was keeping the same energy, had the same energy, saying the same stuff. And now he's just regurgitating it. Remember, he said he would fight Abdullah Mason. Well, according to Abdullah Mason, and not even just Abdullah Mason, I'm not going to put it on Abdullah Mason. According to the boxing media and what he said himself, he turned down some millions to not fight Abdullah Mason. And then we already know what it is with you and Gervonta, and then we already know what it is with you and Shakur. You mentioned Shakur, you had to fight Shakur. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not mad at it. I always said that I thought it was too early for Schofield to fight with the champion. So I'm not mad at it, but the way you went about it and you got the fight that you wanted and then you pull out. And even if it was a legitimate illness, I don't even care. I don't care, because first you said it was the gosh dang, it was a passport. Then it was the whip, which your tires being punctured and your car being compromised. Then it was you couldn't get acclimated to the environment, and then it was your plane ticket was messed up again related to your passport, and then it was a cream from Shakur's masseuse. You know what I'm saying? And then you saying that Shakur tried to stab, like, that's corny, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at him feeling this way. He should feel this way, feel undisputed, but I just don't believe it. You see what I'm saying? But shout out to Floyd, Kid Austin, Schofield. That was a hell of a performance, a hell of a statement, and I don't think anybody's running to fight him. I'll say that right now. Not off of that performance. I don't know who he's gonna fight, but ain't nobody excited to fight him. But I will show you this though. Tank did respond, and I thought this was funny. This was kind of funny, Tank did respond to what Kid Austin said, and he said this. He said this, chat. I can't even read it because of TOS, but he said he will get his little boop boop whooped. I don't have none of that twitchy Tevin has. I'll beat the dog out of this. Hey, yo. Tank ain't going, bro. Tank ain't going, bro. He said he will get his little boop boop whooped. I don't have none of that twitchy boop Tevin has. I'll be the dog boop out of this boop. Stream shut down. So Gervonta caught wind of it and responded. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the fight, man. I'd love to see Kid Austin versus Tank, Kid Austin versus Shakur, Kid Austin versus Murataya. I like it. I don't think he beats any of them. Oh, he might beat Murataya. That's a good fight, but I don't think he beats Tank or Shakur though. But hey, shout out to him, man. Congratulations to all the winners over the weekend. Solid W for Schofield. Facts, MAW. He said, I had the MacBook with it based on his ring walk, or I said it on Discord. He was getting that stoppage. Yeah, but first round? Nah, that first round was crazy, bro. Yeah, bro, that first round stoppage was wild, bro. I can't stand Senior shaking my head. Junior redeemed himself, but his dad talked too much. Yeah, and no disrespect, but, you know, to anybody who feels this way. But I think that people severely exaggerate the negative aspects of the fathers in the boxing, you know, like when I say that, I'm talking about primarily Bill Haney and Brian Norman Sr. and whoever else has been getting a lot of the hate lately. I think Brian Norman Sr. has been great for Brian Norman Jr. I think Devin Haney, I think Bill Haney's great for Bill Haney. I think Bill Haney's great for Devin Haney. I think Angel Garcia was great for Danny Garcia. I think Kenny Porter was great for Sean Porter. The Mayweathers, Roger and Floyd Mayweather Sr. were great for Floyd Mayweather, you know, Jr. So I think that there's a lot more examples of good family ties in boxing and good representations of fathers, sons, or brothers with Robert Garcia, Mikey Garcia, or uncles, whatever. I think there's a lot of more examples of good ones, you know, Shingo Inoue and Nia Inoue and Takuma Inoue, than there are bad ones. We just focus on the bad ones. And sometimes when we don't like somebody, we make it seem like they're bad. Bill Haney doesn't really do much, in my personal opinion. You know, he talks trash, but yeah, he doesn't blame anybody for sabotaging his son or compromising the camp or something like that, like Schofield did, in my personal opinion. And I might be forgetting somebody, but to me, Schofield Sr. and Teofimo Lopez Sr., those two are the bad examples of father sons duos. You know what I'm saying? I think Teofimo Lopez Sr. and Floyd Schofield Sr. are trash. You know what I'm saying? As far as they're very ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Very ignorant, especially Lopez Sr. But yeah, to me, those are two examples of fathers that get in the way of their son's greatness. I think everybody else, people just like to pick sides, so they don't like them by default, you know, and they just try to make it seem like it's something else that it's not. I mean, that's just my personal opinion on that, though. But Kid Austin, I like Kid Austin, but his pops is, I don't rock with his pappy. Where is the question? GTD 3 more years? When is the question? 3 more years? You talk about what Tank and Kid Austin? Yeah, man, he got to fight him now, man. I don't want to wait 3 years. Olsen said can't be mad at him because he clearly said my son going to knock you out, and his son did it in super good fashion. Yep, cap it or not. I have to give him all the respect about this one time. Yeah. Oh no. I'm not giving. I mean, I'm not gonna take away anything from his pops, but you know, yeah. I give them credit. You know, I ain't gonna. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Oster. I'll give their entire team credit. You know what I'm saying? I give their entire team credit. But you know, Floyd, I mean, look what he just said about SHAKUR. He said he'll stop SHAKUR, stops bases, stops takes. So he's always gonna say that. So I don't know how much credit I could give somebody for doing something that he says he's always gonna do. They said they were gonna stop Renee Teller's Garone, and they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I mean, that's just something he always says. Now, if it's something that, you know, it'll be different if like he didn't talk like that and he said that for specifically Tevin Farmer, and then it happened. Then I'd be like, oh yeah, I give you a lot of credit. But it's just something that you always say. It's like, yeah, a dead clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm talking about? A broken clock is right twice a day. Hell, you gonna be right eventually. But yeah, hopefully at least. But yeah, so but shout out to their team though, man. Especially Kid Austin. Like I said, he had a lot of emotions that he displayed and exhibited in front of us. It's like I'm sure he was going through a lot. You know, people just trolling him and talking trash and probably doubting himself. Like he said, he felt depressed. So this was vindication for him. So shout out to the young man, Kid Austin, man, and shout out to Tevin Farmer. I hope he gets in the proper headspace and bounces back as well, because I think he can. I like Kid Austin. I still don't know if I'm sold on him. I want to see him go more rounds. Yeah, I don't know if I'm sold either. Like for me, Abdullah Mason still looks sharp, right? He looks more refined. He looks more, you know, he looks more developed, you know. Kid Austin seems like he has that flash in the pan type style. Like he may look good against this person, and then he might struggle against this person, you know, or he might just catch you and just look superb one time, and then another time you might struggle. So it's like, you know, you're just not sure. So I agree with you, Top Dog. I'm not sure where he's at yet, but that was definitely a good start, you know, with Tevin Farmer. So he doesn't seem like a 62 losses type of guy. I'm surprised Kid Austin amateur record is 180 or 62. He doesn't seem like a 62 loss. I don't know his amateur record. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a lot of amateur losses. In fact, I prefer a lot of amateur fights and a lot of amateur losses, to be honest, because at least you got to see that. Of course, you want people to win. So I'm not saying that I prefer somebody to lose. But what I'm saying is that when you have amateurs, the more fights you have, whether they're wins or losses, you get exposure. You know what I'm saying? You get experience with a lot of different styles. So at least you mitigate. You don't eliminate, but at least you mitigate the opportunity for you to get shell shocked by a style you never seen before in the pros. So I'm not saying it's a good thing to have those losses, because yeah, I agree with you. That's a lot of losses, but I think that you would rather have a lot of like a 180 and 62 record than have like a, I don't know, like 2 wins on your amateur. You know, some people, they turn pro too quickly, have like 5 wins and they go pro, and then they run into styles that they never see before. So yeah, but you're right though. Yeah, I agree. That's surprising. I didn't know he had 62 losses. That's a lot. He said, I got Eddie Cruz beating Kid Austin. That's a good fight. There's a lot of good fights at 135, man. Sign me up, Andy Cruz and Kid Austin. Sign me up. Sign me up, man. Sign me up. But yeah, I just think with Kid Austin, you know, I want to believe him. I want to be like, oh yeah, man, my boy is, you know, Kid Austin Schofield. I want to believe that, oh yeah, he's actually going to go after Tank, actually going to go after SHAKUR, actually going to go after Murataya, actually going to go after the winner of Abdullah Mason and Sam Noakes, actually going to do these things. But we'll see, because he fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. So I ain't nobody's fool. So we'll see how it goes, man. But moving on, bro. Moving on, I want to transition, man. He said, I like Kid because right where he needs to be, because he can be trained to be a champ, because he has flaws that's good at a young age. The point is he gets better and better fight by fight. Yeah, he gets better fight by fight. I hope so, man. I'm with you. I hope so. I hope he gets better. Let me close these blinds. I hope he gets better fight by fight. I think he will. You know, I think he will. I think he will. But yeah. I mean, beating Tevin Farmer like that, bro. A lot of people wouldn't even try to beat Tevin Farmer like that, because like SHAKUR said, you know, he's talking about Tevin should have known he was going to start off fast. I mean, sometimes somebody just catches you, bro. It is what it is, man. You know, ain't nobody immune to not getting caught, you know. So I don't think anybody should come down on Tevin Farmer. You know, I think more so SHAKUR just said that because he doesn't like them, obviously. But also he said that he had Tevin Farmer beating him. So he got it wrong, you know. Sometimes you just get stuff wrong. It happens to us all. But yeah, shout out to Kid Austin, man. That was a hell of a victory, bro. That was a hell of a victory. And shout out to Tevin Farmer. Moving on though, man. I'm seeing a lot of people asking this tired ass question, chat. And I say tired not because I'm defending this young man. It's just tired because it gets old, bro. Like, how long are we gonna talk about Jake Paul fixing fights, scripting fights? Like, do we still care? Like, do you still care if Jake Paul is fixing his fight with Ben Askren or Tyron Woodley or Nate Robinson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or Mike Tyson? Like, who cares, bro? I'm not gonna lie, maybe I'm alone on this, but it's just like, if Jake Paul was going out there and he was fighting Jai Apataya, or he was fighting Zerto Ramirez, or he was fighting, I don't know, Canelo, and like, if Canelo comes in and throws 14 punches in the first 3 rounds, you know why I was very specific with that? I added the exact specificity because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. threw 14 punches in the first 3 rounds. Who cares if it's fixed? The man threw 14 punches in 3 rounds, bro. What are we talking about, dog? The man threw a total of 60 punches throughout the fight. Not landed, attempted 60 punches in the whole entire fight. He threw 14 punches in the first 3 rounds. Who cares if it's fixed? It's not like he's beating Canelo. If Canelo goes out there, or if Zerto or Jai Apataya goes out there and they throw 5 punches in a round, then I'll be like, okay, maybe it's fixed. But his last opponent was a recovering addict in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. No disrespect, it is what it is. He's fresh out of rehab. And his opponent before that was a 60-year-old geriatric in Mike Tyson. People act like he's beating spring chickens. He's not beating championship contenders, bro. He's not beating top guys that are ranked on the pound for pound list. He's beating people that we would beat. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, who cares? Like you know, it's just getting old, bro. It's like I feel like more people that think it's scripted is because they can't imagine that Jake Paul would beat anybody, so they picked Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. to beat him, despite Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. losing to Uriah Hall. By the way, he's not a boxer. Shout out to Jamaican Badman, you know what I'm saying? Big up Jamaica, but he's not a boxer. He also lost to Anderson Silva, a legend in MMA fighting and combat sport, but not boxing. He lost to him too. So I'm not that surprised when the guy loses to Jake Paul. The guy just is fresh out of rehab with Amy Winehouse, rest in peace, and he only threw 14 punches in the first 3 rounds. Who cares if it's scripted or not? Now if he does this to, I don't know, Richard Riakporhe or Chris William Smith, then I'll be a little suspicious. But like, who cares, bro? He's not beating anybody. Like, stop it, bro. He's not beating world champions, bro. Like, stop it, bro. I don't even care if it's scripted or not. If they want to go in there and get paid a couple million to let somebody fake beat them, okay, who cares? Whatever. Like, I'm just so over it, bro. Like, so let me ask you, do you think, I want to ask a serious question though. For everybody that says it's scripted, right? Okay, cool, it's scripted. Do you think Jake Paul's good now? I think the answer is no. So if you still don't think he's good, why does it matter if he really beat them or not? He beat Mike Tyson. Do you think he's good now? No. He beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Do you think he's good now? No. Did he beat anybody that makes you think that he's good now? If the answer is no, why does it matter if he really beat them or not? You still don't think he'll beat Ja Bataya. You still don't think he'll beat Joseph Parker. You still don't think he'll beat Daniel Dubois. You still don't think he'll beat Canelo. You still don't think he'll beat anybody with the pulse. So why does it matter if he's really beating these guys or not? It's really inconsequential. It's just something for people to cry about. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, sign me up. Shoot, I'll go out there. You could I'll throw 14 punches in 3 rounds and script that. Give me a couple million. Hey, you talking about? He said 46-year-old. You feel me? 46-year-old Anderson Silva. Come on now. Forget the fight. I feel like, did you hear the ring announcement? He said, I'm the face of boxing. Oh yeah, he always says that. Yeah, he always says that. He said Shakur sounded like he was hating a little bit. Oh, come on, B-Dog. That's why, I mean, no disrespect to Shakur. I always respect his skills. But Shakur's a hater, bro. Yeah, that's how he comes off to me. That's how he comes off to me, man. He comes off like a little, like a little snobbish. Like, he comes off like a little snob, like, you know what I'm saying? To me, you know what I'm saying? That's why I never really care for him. But he's a beast as a fighter, though. But even when I see like interviews and stuff, he just seems like he just seems a little snobbish, and that's unbecoming of a man to me. I think that was a stab at Canelo, and see what happens when you let the YouTube box. I mean, he always says he's a face of boxing. He's always been saying that and stab and throwing shots at Canelo about him being the face of boxing. Yeah, he's been calling himself the face of boxing since he was fighting Mike Perry, definitely after he beat Mike Tyson. So yeah, of course he throwing shots at Canelo. That's what he said that. Remember, he made like a pinata of Canelo and was hitting him, talking about Canelo was scared. But Shadi, he said the issue is he can now say he beat 2 former world champions. I mean, that's not an issue though. I mean, who cares? Like I said, the issue is, to me, the issue is I don't like him fighting them, but he's fighting them. You see what I'm saying? Like, so who cares if it's scripted or not? Like, I get it back in the day. Like, I get it when he first started. Oh, is it scripted because he's fighting Tyron Woodley and we didn't believe it? But how many we gonna say every fight that he fights is scripted? Like, is that going to be a theme every single time he fights? Like, get over it, bro. Like, now, don't get me wrong. Now, I'm going to wonder if it's scripted if he beats Daniel Dubois. If he beats, like I said, somebody that's serious, then it makes sense to have this conversation. But it doesn't make sense to have a scripted conversation if the guys he's beating is 60 years old, fresh off a crack binge. No disrespect to Julio Cesar Chavez. I should have said that. My bad. God forgive me. But you see what I'm saying? Like, the guys that he's beating all are compromised in some way, whether they're old Mike Tyson, whether it's a rehabilitated Julio Cesar Chavez, whether it's a Tyron Woodley who's not a boxer, whether it's a Ben Askren that's not a boxer, whether it's a, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like it'll be different if we're wondering if he beat Canelo and the question is like, okay, is it scripted? Yeah, that's a good question. But now it's like, bro, he's beating guys that, why don't you think that he could beat them? And even if you don't think it, who cares? You still don't think he's good, so like it's not like he's beating guys that are gonna make you wonder, oh man, you know, I wonder if this guy's legit or not. You still don't think he's legit. I don't think he's legit. So if you don't think he's legit, do we think that he could only beat them if it was scripted? You give me 3 months, I'll beat the hell out of Mike Tyson right now. Facts. Give me 3 months of training. Give me 5 months of training, I'll beat Julio Cesar. And we're not even in the same weight class. Man, stop it, man. Stop it, man. Stop it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul entertained me, bro. He ain't a real boxer. Bye-bye, Chavez Jr. Thank you. Look what Top Dog just said. He said, Jake Paul entertained me. He's entertaining to me, bro. He's not a real boxer. I don't think he's a real boxer, and that's my point. None of us think he's a real boxer. But he's beating guys that aren't real boxers. That's why we don't think he's a real boxer. So it's not like he's beating guys of any consequence. And it's like, okay, damn, man, maybe it is scripted. You see what I'm saying? Like, if he beats a top contender, then I'd be like, okay, bet it is scripted. But when the one time he stepped up against a solid guy, semi-pro, in, what's his name, Tommy Fury, he lost. You see what I'm saying? So I get it. What we're wondering, okay, bet, you know, first couple fights, is it scripted? But now, bro, like, come on, bro. He's not beating anybody. Like, it just gets old, bro. He said, you lucky I don't have much money because I put that fight on. I love it, bro. Man, you crazy as hell, bro. You crazy as hell. I'll beat the hell out of Mike Tyson. Bro, stop it, bro. You know, not Iron Mike, but that Mike? Oh, man. What? Hey, Tufo, what they said about running? Oh, you better, hey, Tom and Jerry for sure. I'm going to get them tired. By the fourth round, it's over with. It's over with. I'm a literally, you want to talk about Devin Haney running. You want to talk about SHAKUR running. I'm literally going to be running. Yeah, man, I run for 30 damn seconds. Tyson gonna be tired. Man, stop it. Man, I probably wouldn't have to throw a punch. He'll probably collapse if he tried to chase me. Man, stop it, man. Stop it, man. Now, if you talk about power slap, I'll lose. If you talk about, okay, me versus Mike Tyson and I can't move, we're in a phone booth, of course I'll probably lose. Not probably, I'll lose. Because it'll hit me one time. You see me? You see what I'm saying? But if we're in a decent sized ring, man, stop it, man. Stop it, man. I do 2 laps. He tired. By the 3rd round, it's over with. It's over with. Stop it, man. He'll probably fall out before I even throw a punch. Is there something in that mic or the sunlight effing with your brain? Tyson, bro, Oster, stop it, bro. Stop, bro. See, that's right. Bro, Mike Tyson is a beast. I'm not saying that. I'm going to make you wear 25-pound boots. Okay, see? Now I'm compromised, you know? Now I might lose. But bro, Oster, you realize Mike Tyson had an ulcer flare-up while sitting in the airport before he fought Jake Paul. This is the person that people heard this and they still thought he would beat Jake Paul. Jake Paul is 30 years his junior. Jake Paul, whether he's good or not, at a certain point, it doesn't matter. At a certain point, he still has his athleticism. He is a guy that's a big guy, a sizable guy, and he's training with Jay Leon Love, a former boxer. He's training with BJ Flores, or not. I don't know if he's still training with BJ Flores. I don't know. He's not training with BJ Flores anymore, but he was, who was a former cruiserweight champion. This guy, at least when he's training, I can't speak for his lifestyle outside of that, but in training camp, he's training like an active boxer. That's all it takes. He doesn't have to be good. He's fighting a guy who just had an ulcer flare up while waiting on his flight in the airport. That means he was sitting down doing nothing, probably eating a Cinnabon, and went in cardiac arrest. And that's the guy that we thought was going to beat Jake Paul. And that's why those are the people that are making up these stories about it being scripted, because they think that he was fighting Mike Tyson from the 80s. They think he was fighting Mike Tyson in 92, the one that was dating Robin Givens. No, he's not fighting that Mike Tyson, bro. He's fighting Mike Tyson with a cane. That's the Mike Tyson he's fighting. The same one that was sitting there talking about his weed dispensaries that he has bought up, and he's pointing at little Boosie, talking about, don't you disrespect my daughter with his cane. That's the Mike Tyson that Jake Paul fought. I beat the hell out of Mike Tyson, man. Stop it, bro. I wouldn't want to. Let's stop it, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. If you mess around and lose to Mike Tyson right now, you deserve it. Don't get it twisted, bro. Stop it, bro. Them airport sitting butts could kill him. You feel me? That man went in cardiac arrest for eating a Cinnabon, bro. Y'all better stop it, man. Now, those are the people that think it's a bro. He just fought somebody who lost to Anderson Silva and Uriah Hall, excuse me, not Uriah Faber. Uriah Hall in a boxing match. He didn't lose to them in the cage. He didn't lose to them in MMA. He lost. Julio Cesar Chavez lost to them in a boxing match. Stop it, bro. And the man's fresh out of rehab, bro. Come on, dog. Come on, man. Come on, man. We not talking about him fighting Osley Iglesias. We not talking about him fighting Lester Martinez or I don't know. You know? We not talking about him fighting gosh dang Beterbiev. We talking about him fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Oh, man, y'all better stop it, man. Y'all better stop it, man. Same Tyson that gave Errol Spence weed before but you feel me? Come on, Southwest Dice. Come on, man. Come on, man. The man was on camera with no draws on, man. He don't care about life, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. The man showed his booty cheeks on the gosh dang Jumbotron, man. What are we talking about, man? Come on, dog. That's what we talking about, bro. Yo, Armando in the building. What's good? Saludos, mi hermano. Hey, saludos, mi hermano. God bless you, bro. Dios te bendiga, mi hermano. The card was good. Main event was a gong show. Yep. Hey, give me a second. Let me go use the bathroom real quick, chat. I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm gonna run this ad real quick. I'm gonna use the bathroom.
Yo, Doc here from your favorite boxing channel, Dr. Boxing Talk. And I want to officially welcome you as a member to the Boxing Talk family, aka BTF. So I want to thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated, and this channel is nothing without you. So what do you get? Well, there's a multitude of perks that you get access to, like special member shoutouts when you enter the chat, and some other additional alerts. Not to mention these fire emojis. Get access to emojis like the GOAT, the GOAT, the face of boxing, the legend, the Ayo, and the no diddy. Not to mention, you know, the GTD chain. You got to bring them out, and it wouldn't be the same if we forgot about
These biscuits.
and so many more. Not to mention, if you subscribe to some of the highest tier levels, you get to do things like pick the topic of discussion, and you get to have your very own emote. Yes, your ugly mug will be featured on the channel by yours truly. It's just another way for me to give back to my most loyal supporters. And of course, there's even more additional perks than that. But most importantly, you'll get the satisfaction of knowing you're a key, essential, imperative part to keep us going and growing. You know, we get the hustle off the muscle. So it's important that we rock together, you know? And remember, God is good all the time, and God is good. And you know that we prioritize facts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my mic was off. I don't know how my mic was off. My bad. I'm over here reading Tevin, Ty's comment. Thank you, Ty. Exactly what Ty just said, bro. Let me read that again. Ty said, this ain't 1986.
Yeah.
F around and make the whole U.S. hate me
Yeah.
for stopping Tyson like Kid Austin stopped Tevin.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I don't know what people think, bro. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Kendrick. I don't know what people think, bro. Come on, bro. No, and there's no disrespect to Tyson. I know it sounds disrespectful because it's like somebody saying Jordan right now. Don't get me wrong. Jordan will probably still beat me because Jordan is 6'6". You feel me? We mess around and play full court, I'll bust Jordan ass. Hey Kendrick, you feel me? You mess around. Hey, Jordan will still beat me because Jordan's 6'6". You know what I'm saying? In the post, I ain't got nothing for him. You mess around and make that thing full court, and it's not make it take it. Oh man, hey, come on, man. And we put it. We I ain't gonna lie, Jordan probably still beat me. That's different, you know, because it's different. You know, the man's still 6'6". You know, you can't do that with 6'6". But you know, you get the point I'm making, though, man. You know, we had to play full court and mess around and put it on. Gosh dang, I don't know, make it some like make it a 48-minute game, full court. Man, I'll mess around, and bust Jordan ass, man. I dunk on Jordan on ass right now. He better bow me. That's the thing. Yeah, bro. Age is real, bro. Father time is real, man. So I'm not saying that, oh, that makes me good or anything, but man, stop it, bro. Tyson better sit down. Now, if Tyson mess around and hit me, yeah, of course, power goes last. So if I mess around and get hit by Tyson, but you saw Jake Paul didn't get hit by Tyson. You know, it's one thing to have the power, but you still have the mechanics to deliver that power. That's what I love. I love it and I hate it when people say, oh yeah, power's the last thing to go. Of course, power's the last thing to go. But you don't just go in there and knock somebody out with your aura. You have to actually land a punch. Deontay Wilder probably still has his power. But what about his mechanism and his ability to deliver that power? That's what gets decreased significantly. You see what I'm saying? That's what gets eroded over time, is the fact that he doesn't have the athleticism. If you look at Mike Tyson fight, what is he? He's explosive. He gets a lot of power from his legs and stuff like that. And he explodes up and stuff. He wasn't exploding like that. You know, we were excited to see them little 2-second burst clips that were highlights that probably Jake Paul and his team made themselves, you know, but that was like for like 2 seconds, bro. Come on, man. You couldn't do that for 3 minutes. You think Mike Tyson jump roped for that fight? Man, please. He probably did 30-second jump ropes, man. Stop it, man. If that, stop it, man. But yeah, man. But yeah, so I'm not saying, so I want to be very clear though. I'm not saying that these fights aren't scripted. I mean, maybe they are. I'm saying I don't care, bro. Like if he messes around and beats like somebody of any consequence, then I'd be like, okay, man, this might be scripted. But he's not beating people that he shouldn't beat. You know, and that sounds crazy. I know people that are boxing heads and purists like me. I know that might sound disappointing, but Jake Paul is supposed to beat Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. The Jake Paul that fought a 60-year-old Mike Tyson, yeah, Jake Paul's supposed to win. I know it might make some of your heads explode. I know some of y'all heads might be exploded right now, but I was not shocked. In fact, I told people that I didn't want to watch it because I know Jake Paul's going to win, and that's why I was mad, because Jake Paul's going to have Mike Tyson on his resume and have a W beside it. Anybody with common sense knew that Jake Paul was going to win that. There's no disrespect to Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson is 60. Matter of fact, let's not even speak in hyperbole, right? Let's not be hyperbolic. Let's be literal. Mike Tyson at the time of the fight was 57 years old. Jake Paul was 27 years old. Stop it. Mike Tyson hurt his back years ago, decades ago. Yeah, remember that spinal? Yeah, that was like in like 1945. He fought Jake Paul in 2024. He had a back injury at 45. When he was 45. The man was 60 now. Come on, bro. What are we talking about, bro? Wilder returned to his 2016-2017 form, knocking out bums. I'm asleep. He said, I watched that. Nah, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Holly Holmes and Mayer can together cause problems for other countries. Oh, Holly Holmes versus Michaela Mayer? Bro, I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to see that, man. No, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. Don't get me wrong. I think Michaela Mayer mentioned something about, I think I saw an interview of, maybe you saw the same one, Ty. I think Michaela Mayer might have mentioned potentially fighting Holly Holmes. I don't know if I like that, man. Shout out to Holly Holmes. I mean, she's only 43, you know? So, and she looked good in her win just now. So, you saw her bust a backflip, but man, I don't know. I don't know if she can fight Michaela Mayer, man. I don't know about that. You know, but we'll see though. You know, Holly Holmes is a tough fighter. You know, she's tough. You know, she's tough, but she might be too tough for her own good. Holmes might beat her. You think so? You think so? I don't know, Kendrick. I don't know. Let me show you. Let me show you something, Kendrick. And now this doesn't really mean much, but I don't know if you ever recover from this. Let me show you this. I don't know if you've seen this before. Maybe you have. Well, I was gonna get on a little earlier today too, but you know I was watching the Los Angeles Sparks. You know I'm talking about Rakia Jackson and Kelsey Plum and Derica Hambry going against Chicago Sky. You know Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith and all I don't know if y'all saw this. And in my opinion, this referee should never ref again. I don't know if you recover from this, bro. I don't remember when this was, but I don't know if you've seen this, Kendrick. I just don't know if you ever recover from this. Like, for real recover. But she was asleep. Bro, she was asleep. It's not funny, bro. I'm laughing because look what the referee does. Bro, she was asleep, bro. She's asleep right here, right? It's the sleep. It's the sleep. She's asleep right there. Sleep. She's asleep right there. It instantly fell asleep. Now watch what the referee does. How do you let that continue? Now she sleep. First she was asleep, now she sleep. How you fall asleep so fast though? That's all she sleep. Look, she sleep right there. And then she sleep right. Look at this. Bro, boxing is dangerous, bro. That's what I be saying. I be when I salute the fighters, I be like, man, shout out to the fighter, even though they lose. Bro, that is dangerous. That referee should never ref again. Never ref again. But the reason why I showed that is because it was a long time ago. That doesn't mean that she will lose. But what I'm saying is, ain't enough backflips in the world to make me think that she could beat a young contender like Michaela Mayer right now. You know, Yeah, and the point is that was like what that. But my point of bringing that up, Kendrick, is that was a while ago, but that was one of the last times she was in the boxing ring. You see what I'm saying? So even though I think it was like 2011 or 2012, right? But that was one of the last times she was in the. I think she fought maybe because she rematched the girl and beat her, and then I think she might have fought 1 or 2 times after that, and then went to UFC or MMA or whatever. So my point of saying that is, and don't. My point of saying that is, it's 2025 now. 13 years later, let's say this happened in 2012. 13 years later, I don't want to see her go against. I don't want to see her go against Michaela Mayer. Hey, she became a UFC champion, but that's my point. That's how long ago that was. So. Nah, bro. And she did redeem herself. She won. She fought that girl and Sophie Mathis, something like that. She won, but that's a long. That was like in like 2011 or something like that. I see this before. It was a different time. Yeah, bro. That was it, bro. That was nasty, bro. That ref. The ref is foul. Top. I don't know how he let her fight again. Like that was crazy. That was crazy. She would be the only UFC and boxing Hall of Famer if Dana stops hating. Yeah, she definitely needs to be Hall of Famer. She definitely should be the only MMA and she's definitely a boxing Hall of Famer for sure. You know, she should be in the MMA as well. You know what she did to Ronda Rousey and other fights that she won. Will she be? I don't know, but yeah, she should be. Like you said, Dana needs to stop hating him, but they both need to. She needs to be Hall of Famer in both. She's a beast. She got stretched in a 2-minute round. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ty. And then to put her against Michaela Mayer in 2025, 2026, nah, bro. Like I said, sometimes you got to protect people from themselves, and shout out to her. She just won her last fight last night, right? Or yesterday. Yeah, last night. But you know, I think that no disrespect to her opponent, but her opponent was a little green too, you know. So if you talk about Michaela Mayer's a champion, man, I don't want to see that. But like I said, hey, if she wants to get it in, go ahead and get it in. Just like Deontay Wilder, hey, you want to get it in, go do your thing. You know, I'll be rooting for you. But ugh. That's tough. That is tough. Matter of fact, let me look and see when that fight was. Let's look it up, chat. Let's look it up and see when that fight was. So she just beat Yolanda Vega, right? She just beat Yolanda Vega last night, 2025. 2013, bros, was her last. So she'd been out the boxing ring for 12 years. Mary McGee, Diana Prazik. This is her right here. And Sophie Mathis. So this is where she just lost. We just watched. 2011, chat. That was 2011. She got the rematch and beat her in 2012. And she had 2 more fights after that. Yeah, bro. Nah, she can't fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my point is that was towards the end of her career when that happened. It wasn't like that happened early on in her career. That happened towards the end of her boxing career. You see what I'm saying? So nah, I don't want to see her against Michaela Mayer, man. But hey, if they want it, let them get it. Mayer wants smoke with Clarissa because fighters like Kate Taylor, come on now, exactly, ain't available, right? Exactly, fighting pointless trilogies, exactly, Ty, exactly. We cool with it. But yeah, man. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. You know, I don't mind anybody disagreeing with me. I just think the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. stuff is just what point does it prove at this point? Even if it is scripted, what does that do? You know, I think it should be. Don't get me wrong. I think it should be wiped out of the sport. I'm not saying it's good for the sport. I'm not saying who cares from that standpoint. I'm just saying that he's not beating anybody that's like, oh man, I can't imagine him beating that person. Oh yeah, man, it's suspicious that a guy, fresh off a cocaine line, only threw 14 punches in 3 rounds. That's not suspicious. Oh, it's suspicious that a 60-year-old guy who just had an ulcer flare up in the middle of an airport didn't throw any punches. It was biting his glove. Yeah, because his hemorrhoids is probably going off. Biting the shit out of his gloves. He was probably in pain. His bunions probably hurting. They probably on fire. So he probably biting his gloves just because, you know what I'm saying? To distract himself and ease some of the pain. Come on, bro. It ain't like he out here beating Martin Bacoli. It sounds like she had plenty of time to recover. Nah, bro, you wildin', man. You wildin'. But yeah, man. So yeah. So what y'all think about what do y'all think about this Haney and Norman stuff, man? And the SHAKUR and Tank being called out by Schofield and oof. I'm so glad Ty was here, man. So he got my back on that. Man, Ty mess around and knock Mike Tyson smooth out, man. I'm telling you, bro. I mean, it just is what it is, man. You know, at a certain time, it's just. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Mike Tyson, if he land one, I'm not in trouble. I'm just saying that I don't think he would land one. You know, not you know, if it's a street fight, he caught me off guard, we arguing, bow, he just catch me across the head top, yeah. But if we going into a fight and we know what's going on, come on, bro. I like me to be able to avoid Mike Tyson's 4 or 5 punches that he's gonna throw over 12 rounds. Is it true Turkey is going to match Haney against Brian Norman? Yeah, Armando, that's what they're saying, man. They're saying Haney versus Norman in November. That's what they're saying. Yeah, that was official by Ring Magazine, and Turki Al-Sheikh announced it. So now, does that mean it's definitively gonna happen? It doesn't mean it's finalized, but they're saying it's in November. You know, that's a lot of time between June and November. But if you think about it, it's only what, 5 months? Actually, no, it's about to be July, right? So it's really only 4 months. So you would think having an official announcement from Turkey's side or the ring side that it would be pretty serious, because a training camp is usually 12 weeks, and 12 weeks, that's already 3 months. So that we're 4 months out. So you would think that it's real. You would think that it's legit. But, you know, we've seen stuff happen where somebody calls out, somebody gets sick, or the negotiations fall out at the end, at the last second, or maybe they don't agree on things like the ring size or locate. You know what I'm saying? So we've seen fights fall apart. But no, as far as it's as official as it can be right now. Yeah. So. Yep, and it's gonna be in Riyadh. They even gave us a location. You know, it's gonna be in Riyadh. So I'm thinking November. A lot of us are thinking that it's on the Beterbiev Bivol trilogy undercard. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Norman said they agreed on money, but they don't have a date or venue yet. Exactly, that's the thing. But according to the Ring Magazine, they said they have the Riyadh season. You know what I'm saying? So, we are assuming that that'd be on November. Not assuming. They said November. We would assume that it would be on the Beterbiev Bivol. So I think that's what's holding it up as far as a specific date. But you know, the general time frame, you know, it's going to be in November. I mean, that's what Ring said, you know. So you got to go with the Ring, right? Because that is in direct contact with Turkey. So like I said, I'm not sold on it yet. We'll see. Like I said, I think there's still room for reasonable doubt, but you know, we'll see, man. We'll see. So I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Let me pull it up for my guy Armando, man, my brother Armando. Let me pull it up for him. Here it goes right here. So here it is right here, man. This is earlier today. Brian Norman and Devin Haney will meet for the WBO welterweight title in November in Riyadh. Turki Al-Sheikh announced. So, you know what I'm saying? Turkey announced it. So, it says Haney will attempt to win a 3rd division title in his first fight as a full-fledged 147-pounder. This will be his first fight fully at 147. You know, his other fight, it's above junior welterweight. It was above 140. So, people say it was a welterweight fight, and I agree with that sentiment. But it was at 140. Was it 143 or 144 catchweight between Jose Carlos Ramirez and Devin Haney? Either way, this will not be at a catchweight. This will be at legitimately 147 welterweight division. Norman delivered one of 2025's best KOs earlier this month versus Jin Sasaki in Tokyo. So that's it from Turki Al-Sheikh, man. So we'll see if it actually goes down. I think there's a good chance, Armando. That was a few days ago, though. He said Norman said they agree. Oh, you talking about when Norman said that? Yeah, I know. Yeah. That was on the. You're referencing the interview he had when they were on what's it doing? TBV, the boxing voice and stuff. How in the hell is Bill Haney's son going to pull this off? Man, I don't know, Dub. I mean, my boy Ty is confident in Devin Haney. I'm confident in Brian Norman. So we'll see, man. I like I said, we got to salute Devin Haney and Brian Norman because this is a good fight. Like I said, for both parties, you know, it's a big step up for both sides. You know, it may not be a step up in skill necessarily for Devin Haney because, like I said, Jose Carlos Ramirez is a former unified champion and an Olympian. You know, Devin Haney has faced Lomachenko and other guys like that. You know, Brian Norman though, it's a step up for for power and in size for Devin Haney and what we think he can handle, you know, because it looks like he still has some doubts lingering in his mind from the Ryan Garcia situation, right? That's what everybody's talking about, whether they're exaggerating or not, you know, that's what everybody's talking about, right? And then for Brian, so it's a step up in regards to what Brian Norman could do as far as his power, what he did to Jin Sasaki, what he did to Derek Cuevas, and what he did to Giovanni Santillan. The man has power, he knows how to deliver it, right? So from that standpoint, it's a step up, you know, circumstantially. But for Brian Norman, it's a step up in every sense, you know. As far as being a skilled boxer goes, you know, this is the biggest name that he'll ever fight, that he's fought to this day. Not ever fight, but this would be the biggest name that he's ever fought to this day. You know what I'm saying? To this date. He's the most skilled fighter that he's ever fought and the most accomplished fighter that he has fought to this point. So it's a step up for both fighters, you know. A lot of people aren't going to look at it like that. They're just going to talk about the risk that Devin Haney's taking, but they're both taking risks, and I salute both the fighters, you know, if this actually comes into fruition, man. It's a good fight, man. It's a good fight, man. But yeah, the audacity of people to make it seem like it's one-sided. Nah, man. I don't think this is one-sided. I'm going with Brian Norman, but I don't think it's an automatic win for Brian Norman. I don't care what Devin Haney been through. I think Devin Haney's still a live dog. He's still a good fighter. I think people just like to be disrespectful, you know, towards a fighter that they don't like. But to say that it's a one-sided fight or only one fighter's taking the risk, the unmitigated gall of somebody to say that. Nah, bro. Devin Haney's still a champion. But yeah, I'm going with Brian Norman though. He's out. If Haney actually gets in the ring with him, Haney officially took the most risks out of his contemporaries in this generation in my book. I'd agree with that. I agree with that. I had to think about it a little bit, but I agree with that. As much as I don't like the cheater, you know what I'm saying? I don't really care for the racist cheater.
We do not let people who are on the juice discuss real athletes. That's all.
As much as I don't really care for him, I was gonna say him, you know, fighting Tank and Haney, but you know, of course, you got to factor in that he cheated. But it's still taking a risk, you know what I'm saying? Him and Devin Haney, but and it's not obviously he's the least accomplished, but we're talking about taking risks. I was considering Ryan Garcia, but yeah, I would say Devin Haney. Yeah. I would say that, you know. And then, you know, Teofimo took a risk when he fought Loma, you know. May have been an involuntary risk, but still a risk nonetheless. And then, you know, of course, Tank took a risk when he moved up and fought Mario Barrios. I know a lot of people won't think that, but he still moved up and fought somebody. But I would say Devin Haney fighting Lomachenko. I don't think that was a risk fighting. It's a risk now that he fought Ryan Garcia because he was on PEDs, but that's not really a risk to fight Ryan Garcia. Like I say, he's been unaccomplished. He has accomplished anything, but I would say fighting Jose Carlos Ramirez for your tune-up fight or for your comeback fight, and then fighting Brian Norman, and then fighting, yeah, I would agree with that. And fighting Lomachenko, I would agree with that. Norman will lose 4-8, 4-8, 5-7. Ooh, TOA take no risk. Yeah, nah, he has, yeah, I agree with that. Well, no. He was still the young. You talking about as far as I got to get to like I said, I don't know if it was voluntary. It might have been involuntary. He might have been put in a certain spot, but no. That's still a risk. It's like Brian Norman. Brian Norman's taking a risk fighting Devin Haney too. You know, like I said, I know people won't think that, but yeah. Now Teofimo. First of all, you know, we already know the stigma with, you know, American fighters. If they lose, it's worse. So I get that part, but I mean, you're still a young fighter taking on a guy like Lomachenko. You don't want to lose. You know what I'm saying? It's still a risk. It's not as big of a risk as what Devin Haney's doing now. So I agree with that, but I got to say that's a risk. Like Brian Norman taking a risk now fighting Devin Haney. Of course, you could bounce back if you lose, but I ain't gonna say you have nothing to lose. You always got, especially in boxing, you always got something to lose, but especially if you're a Black American fighter, you know. But yeah, Americans, because we don't like fighters that lose, you know, and Tio is American, so he won't be as well. He's not as bad off as, you know, some other Americans that they hate on. But if Tio lost, no one would have cared because Lobo was considered a GOAT. No, I disagree with that. I don't think. I mean, I think he would. I think he would have been able to bounce back, but people would have cared. Yeah, I always think people care. I think boxing is a sport where, I mean, look at Canelo. Canelo's able to bounce back. People still talk about him losing to Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Floyd's a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? And Canelo is Mexican. And Mexico has the best boxing fan base. People still care about it. You know. It's like, shout out to my boy Bud. Even Bud said, "Hey man, you lost every single time you stepped up. You stepped up to Floyd, lost. You stepped up to Bivol, lost." Hey, Bud, funny, bro. Bud had me rolling, but I got Canelo beating Terrence Crawford, but nah, loss is always People always care, and I do agree with you from the standpoint that some losses being less for certain fighters than others, of course, but I think losses always matter. He said Norman can have that hook, but he has to prove it to us. He actually could track down and outthink someone. Yep, just as if not more athletic. Yep, just as if not more athletic than him. Yep. Why do you think they are screaming they need an 18 by 18 ring? Yeah, that's a good point. He said Norman's a champion, at least not like Tio at the time. Yeah, but it's still, that might be worse. You know, I mean, you can argue both. You can argue that if he loses and he's not a champion, then that might make his path to even become a champion even harder or somewhat impossible. You know what I'm saying? It could have been derailed early, you know? So yeah, I definitely think Tio had something to lose. You always got something to lose as a boxer. Some just lose more than others. The best fight in boxing this year, in my opinion, is Devin Bryan. I think the fight makes a lot of sense. I believe, heck yeah, not really, Doc. They always excuse that loss. Hell, no, they don't. No, they don't. I mean, yeah, people do, but who is they? Like, no, bro. People hold that loss against Canelo. Even Floyd was like, I was old. And I mean, some people say, oh, he lost to an old, smaller Floyd. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everybody does. Some people give excuses. No, there's nothing that's a blanketed statement for 100% everybody. But there are people that will say that Canelo lost. People still say that he tried to cherry pick Bivol. As great as Bivol is now, people say he tried to cherry pick Bivol and he should have lost to Bivol. So yeah, everybody gets critiqued on their losses. You know what I'm saying? Now some, like I said, some people get critiqued more than others. But to say that, oh, losses don't matter, there's nobody where a loss doesn't matter. It's just some losses for some fighters matter more than others. You know what I'm saying? Like a Tank who had a draw. Tank's draw is more significant than, I don't know, who just had a draw, chat? I don't know. Carlos Adames and Hamza Shiraz's draw. It didn't make as much noise. Well, I mean, that was robbery too, so maybe that did make a little noise. But give me Raul Curio just had a draw with Alexis Rocha. No one's gonna care about that draw, but Gervonta Tank Davis has a draw with Lamont Roach. That draw is gonna be a big deal. You know what I'm saying? For some people, they treat that like a loss. But then on the flip side, you know, you have Devin Haney who has a no contest. That no contest was louder than Keyshawn Davis's no contest with Nahir Albright or anybody else no contest, or the last no contest we just had with Jaime Munguia. And so I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter. Some matters more, some matters less. But I'm not gonna say if Tio lost to Lomachenko, it wouldn't matter. Absolutely not. No, I ain't gonna say that. Like, that's too far. Every loss matters. Some people make excuses for it, like Lomachenko, right? Like, okay, let's use Lomachenko still, right? Lomachenko, they try to erase Salido's loss, right? Or they try to erase Salido's win over Lomachenko. But people like me and you and others will be like, oh, hold on, bro. It might have been your second fight, but you still lost. You see what I'm saying? And it matters. Because if, let's say, Lomachenko was 18, or I guess he would have been 19-2, that's a lot better than 18-3. You know what I'm saying? So he got over it, and he's still in the Hall of Fame for a lot of people. Maybe not for you, and maybe not for me. But that loss still meant something. And that was only his second loss. You know, it was only his second fight. So, no, the loss is always, boxing is, unfortunately, I ain't gonna say unfortunately, though, because I think losses shouldn't matter. I just think it's unfortunate that people make it matter too much, especially for American fighters, especially for the darker persuasion American fighters, you know. But, no, I think losses always matter. But I just think some people are in a better position to bounce back. Like Jaime Munguia, you know, his loss to Canelo is not going to be as bad as Bud's loss to Canelo if he loses. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that, you know. I ain't going to say it don't matter, though. But to each his own. I mean, that's how you feel about it. I disagree. It's going to be easy for Dev. However, it's not going to be easy for Brian. It's not going to be easy for Dev. However, it's not going to be easy for Brian. You talk about 50-50. Dev could box for real. You think it's 50-50, Oster? What do you think, Ty? And everybody else in the chat. Y'all think it's 50-50, Norman and Haney? I'd agree with that. I'd say 50-50. I'm leaning towards Brian Norman, but I say 50-50 going in. I think Ty would disagree. I think Ty would disagree. I think I want to see what Dub thinks. I say 50-50 though. I agree with that. I'm leaning towards Norman, but I think it's a 50-50 fight right now. Maybe I might feel differently as time progresses and I think about it more, but I think it's 50-50 fight. I think it's a very good fight, man. It might not end up being that. It might not look like it at the end of the day, but I think it's a very good fight, man. In my personal opinion, that's just me though. No, I agree with you, Oster. But chat, man, I'm about to go ahead and call it, man. You know, get ready for the morning show. What we gonna talk about in the morning, man? We got a lot of things we can talk about in the morning though. We could keep diving in on some of these topics we talked about today. Like what's next for Jake Paul. A lot of people are mad that Jake Paul. See, this is what I be talking about, bro. People are mad that Jake Paul called out Zerto, Anthony Joshua, and Gervonta Tank Davis. It's like, bro, like this man's not I don't even consider him a boxer. He's not even a boxer, bro. You know, like he is going to do that stuff, bro. We can't. What I'm upset about is the fact that the WBA. Let me show you this, chat. I'm so glad that I almost forgot. This is what I'm mad at. In my personal opinion, this is something to be mad at. Forget if it's scripted. Forget who he's fighting, who he's calling out. Who cares? This is what I care about. This is nonsense. This is what makes me mad. Told by the WB, this is Lance Pugmire. He's a reputable boxing contributor and columnist. Told by WBA President Gilberto Mendoza that if Jake Paul wins tonight, he will be elevated into the WBA boxing rankings, making him eligible for a title shot at the champion Zurdo Ramirez or Junio Dorticos. Obviously, Dorticos lost. Gilberto Ramirez won. So we could potentially see Zurdo versus Jake Paul instead of Zurdo versus Job Ataya or Zurdo versus Badu Jack or whatever. So not only is the WBA and President Gilberto Mendoza saying Jake Paul can be in their rankings, the WBC and President Mauricio Suleiman also said that Jake Paul could be in the rankings. So let's say that the WBA doesn't allow Jake Paul and Gilberto Ramirez. The WBC might, and that could be Jake Paul and Badu Jack. That's the stuff that makes me mad. I could care less if 1,000 people are signing up to Jake Paul and losing. Who cares? What the heck is Jake Paul doing in the WBA and WBC rankings for a title shot? That's what annoys me. I could care less if it's scripted or not. You know, he's not beating anybody that makes me think he's a good fighter anyway. He said, I have to see Norman's reaction to lateral movement in previous fights. He said, I think somebody's getting washed. I just don't know who. Yeah. I think that if I could see Brian Norman getting washed, but I could also see Devin Haney getting stopped. So can't hate on Bill because Bill and his team asked for the fight after that performance. I don't know. Bill ain't been wrong 34 times, and Dev a big boy. This is going to be a good hell of a fight. Yeah, I think so too. But y'all about to go ahead and call it, man. Appreciate y'all rocking with me as always. 60-40 for Haney. I'm not mad at that. 60-40 in favor of Haney. I say 50-50 right now, but I'm personally just leaning for Brian Norman. I don't think I'm not leaning towards him enough to say I'm going to give him more of a percentage, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, it's like 51-49 for me. But yeah, Kendrick got Haney. Ty got Haney. We know that. Oster 50-50. I'm 50-50. Dub said he has to go look some more. Yeah, I don't know, man, but I appreciate y'all rocking as always, man. Don't forget to smack that like button if you haven't done so already, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. That's crazy. If not, go like the other videos that we posted. I'll be back on in the morning for the morning show, good Lord willing, at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back, man. And so I appreciate y'all rocking as always. Thank y'all for chopping it up with this boxing stuff. And y'all be easy, be cool, and stay in school. You feel me? The doctor's out. Nah, for real. Don't forget to smack that like button. But most importantly, remember with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. Peace. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.